Speak Easy Studios. Speak and be heard.
What effect does stress have on your life? How does it affect your relationships? What about your business? My name is Lynn of It's Why, and my clients call me the identity coach because they discover how to take back control of who they want to be and how they react to stress. This message needed to get out to a larger group of people. So I created a group that helps people identify and manage the stress they never realized they had. We're going to explore questions that challenge you to find your inner power that got buried so deep within because of that stress, and take back control of the situations that cause that stress in your daily life. A small change can make the biggest difference. You make the difference. Welcome back to this week's episode of IPP Thursday. For those of you returning, thank you so much for being one of my Inner Power partners. And for those of you who are new, I look forward to you becoming one of my Inner Power partners. Today we're going to talk about something that I think might spark some thinking in your mind. We're going to talk about the 80-20 rule. Have you heard about the 80-20 rule? It's the Pareto Principle, which states roughly that 80% of our results come from 20% of our efforts made. You're probably saying, oh yeah, it's a business thing. I've heard about that. Well, what's interesting about that is that the 80-20 rule is most often cited as an economic principle. 80% of your income comes from 20% of your clients. But this principle is much more far-reaching, and I kind of want to share a little bit about that today. So, are you ready? The 80-20 rule has been shown to work for everything from the clothes in your closet to the reasons why people fight in intimate relationships. You're saying, really? Well, think about it. Did you ever stop to think that you might wear 20% of your clothes 80% of the time? Or that you're actually getting 80% of what you want from your partner, and the endless search for that other 20% is what's causing you pain? These are everyday parts of life, right? That 80-20 rule really kind of fits. I don't know about you, but I definitely can say I wear 20% of my clothes 80% of the time. And I think that's kind of funny when you think about it. So the examples that I just shared with you were posted in a email that I had received, an online post from Andrea Nakayama from Full Body Systems. And it really made me start to think about how that 80-20 rule really applies to a lot of other things. So what I want to ask you today is, how do you apply the 80-20 rule to your business? And how might you be applying that 80-20 rule to your life? When you think about this question, and you think about the examples that Andrea Nakayama offered, what comes up for you? What examples in your own life kind of come to the surface? Have you had any kind of insight into something that you may not have thought of before? I know it did strike me. I'm hoping that maybe it'll strike you with something that applies in your world. So if you were thinking about how the 80-20 rule currently presents itself in your life, both personally and professionally, and you were to update that, what do you think that might look like? How might you want it to change? IPP members have shared that it seems like 80% of the time, others only hear 20% of what you might say. When I gave that some thought, I realized sometimes we may be in a conversation and we say so much, and then someone asks us something, and I think to myself, didn't I just talk about that? Wow, that was so true. So where in your life might that 80-20 rule really apply? So I invite you to make the 20% count more and get rid of the 80% that's not useful. And that will constantly change. So it may be important to constantly reevaluate that. I want to say, how can this 80-20 rule impact your success and well-being? And how might you want that to look different? I hope I've sparked a lot of different little aha moments today. Got you in a thought process to say, I may not be able to come up with anything right now, but that 80-20 rule might be something for me to reevaluate, something for me to look at, something for me to consider. I hope that you have something interesting in your mind or something comes up before you come back next week. You can post it as a comment to this episode, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. Open up your heart to your inner power and make this a successful week. I look forward to you coming back next week on IPP Thursday, and bring a friend. Have somebody else open up their inner power. Maybe get some new tips. Thank you so much for listening.